How are we doing there now, lads? Is this any better there for you? That's some balls if this doesn't work. My apologies, guys. Oh yeah, excellent. I see fucking some feedback here on the screen. I think it's working. Guys, my apologies there on that. Yeah, there we go. I see some positive comments coming in as well. So you're hearing me. Testing one, two, one, two. Apologies, guys, for that. And Podge, you're a legend, man. Nice one for the super chat there as always. He's saying keep her lit, guys, and hit that like button. And he's letting me know I have no sound either. Nice one there for that, guys. Much appreciated for bearing with me there as I just worked through that little technical difficulty. I wasn't too sure beforehand if it was working or not, but obviously I found out rather quickly. So it's good. Welcome along, guys, to another episode of the 420 News. My apologies there for that technical difficulty. As I was saying, when you couldn't hear me, my computer actually broke down on me. I was fiddling with it yesterday, trying to sort out a problem, and I ended up making a bigger problem. The bloody yokes after giving me a black screen of death, apparently. So the computer is going to my brother later on, who knows his way around these things, and I'm back on my laptop. Grateful to have the laptop. It's just that there was some upgrades made, and I had to integrate those into the program here. And sadly, my audio was missing then as a result. So, look, it's all sorted now. So, happy fucking days. Before we go any further, guys, I just want to give a shout out to the sponsors of today's show, R420 Supplies. And you can check out their store on r420.ie. I believe the store is active there now if you want to get some orders in, and their store is going to be open for you to pop in come the 17th of May as per the government guidelines. So I think there's a click and collect in place up there as well. R420 Supplies is based in Port Arlington, guys. So if you're in the area, go check them out. And do definitely give them some support once they officially open the doors on the 17th of May next week. Everything you could need as a cannabis consumer is probably going to be found in their bar, Cannabis. So do definitely check it out, guys. And also just another quick update there, guys, on the charity run I'm doing at the moment with my daughter. We were out there again yesterday evening, and we managed to smash day 11. Apologies for not being a bit more active on social media, updating you on these things. I just been bloody. I enjoy these runs. I suppose they're my way of. I suppose just having a bit of a break away from all of this stuff, like to be able to meditate a bit. And I tend to leave my phone at home when I go on these runs. So I'll try to bring it along with me there maybe later on this evening when I go out on day 12 of the run. We're smashing it, doing well. The legs we're feeling weak come day 5 or 6, but I'm definitely seeing a reduction in that there now at the moment. So getting stronger, guys. Look forward to being able to smash this one again, raising some money for a very worthwhile cause, a very worthy cause, the Laurel Ireland's Children's Hospice. And we're also raising awareness about the need for access to medical cannabis at the same time, hence running 420 kilometers. I wish I chose 100 or 42 maybe, 42.0. That's going to be the next one actually, fucking 420 kilometers on. That's a ball breaker. So yeah, guys, and I suppose just one final update. Yesterday we had a protest in Cork City, and thanks very much to everybody who took the time out of their day to come down and support the cause, support the protest. We had about 20 of us down there in Cork City, and we had Bob Marley blasting out on the main street while we were all engaged in acts of civil disobedience, which was basically consuming cannabis publicly. We had with us a small cannabis plant there as well for the day, and yeah, over 2 hours we spent there on the main street. The public got to walk by, got to see what the cannabis community was. I suppose they got to see a cannabis plant, and nobody got hurt. It was a very positive day. Nobody got arrested too, more importantly. So yeah, very positive reporting there. And I wish I actually had a video to share with you. It's up there on my Facebook if you want to go and check it out. I captured some images and video clips there yesterday, and that's what I was working on yesterday evening when I encountered some problems with my computer, so I didn't get to finish that video of yesterday's events. But very positive. I got to meet some new people there as well, people I hadn't met before. So that was probably, for me, the most valuable part of the day, strengthening the network of people out there who are actively engaged in protesting for their rights to access this plant And we did it all in honor of Bob Marley, who sadly was passed away 40 years yesterday. But you know, it was a very positive day and a very uplifting affair because of Bob's music. So thanks very much, Bob, for that, and may you rest in peace, bro. So we'll drive on, guys, and thanks very much, guys, for all your comments coming in. Much appreciated. I see one question there asking me my opinion on the Palestine and Israel conflict that seems to be escalating there at the moment. My opinion was I've never supported any country that drops bombs on other countries. So I don't support the conflict from either side, I suppose, in certain regards. But I definitely do think that the Israel side has been much more heavy-handed than the Palestinian side. You know, but that's probably all I'm going to really say on that. I certainly do support the Palestinian state and all of that stuff. I don't support what the Israeli state is doing. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to say on that. But nice one for asking anyway. Let's get back to the cannabis topics. Casa de Stragas, how you doing, man? And yeah, I'm sure R420 supplies will stock cannabis once they're allowed to do so legally. And yeah, it was Joe Hartnett there who was asking me any thoughts on the Palestine issue. Nice one for that, Joe. And Vin Nolan saying fair play for yesterday. Marley'd be proud. Delighted to hear that, man. I hope he would be. You know, I'm sure the guy would have supported the cause had he been around. He was always a very well outspoken advocate for the right to access cannabis and the benefits cannabis brought people. And Russell Banta says, I highly recommend you read the recent publication, Public Health Implications of Legalizing the Production and Sale of Cannabis for Medicinal and Recreational Use. We'll check that one out. And what's happening there, Streamlabs? I see Streamlabs leaving me some comments there in the comment section. What's happening? John Finnegan as well saying, Martin Connon sent you a snap in Messenger. I'll check that out there later, John. Nice one for that. Podge also, sorry I wasn't there, but next time hopefully will be. Hopefully you're feeling better, Podge. You were feeling a bit under the weather there yesterday, so nice one for giving me the heads up. And hopefully we'll be able to get you out to the next one. And there will be one very soon. I'll be releasing more information. I suppose the only date to put into your diaries right now, guys, is the 26th of June, which is the annual day of Support Don't Punish. There will be a day of action in Cork City again this year. It'll be the 10th year this year that we've been holding these events here in Cork City. So do pencil that one into your diaries. And if you'd like to get involved, if you're not going to be in Cork, and if you'd like to support or to run a Support Don't Punish event in your own area, do get in touch and I'll tell you how you can do it. So yeah, nice one for that. And Russell Banta there as well, man. Much appreciated there for the super chat as well. Legend. He says, above message, you're my first super chat, Martin. Got a job in UCC. Excellent, man. Delighted to hear, man. I'm a student in UCC, if you didn't know. I'm doing a master's in bioanalytical chemistry. Should be finished there in August, I think, is when we're wrapping it up. But man, if you ever want to meet up for a cup of coffee or anything like that, gladly meet up to meet like-minded people and have a chat. And as I say, strengthen this network, get to know one another outside of the screens, you know, real face-to-face interactions. But nice one for that, Russell. Much appreciated. And Andreas as well, man. What's happening, Andreas? I won't miss your chat today, Andreas. He says it's all good talking about weed, but when you don't have it, that's the problem. Yeah, man, it's a heartbreaker when you don't have any. And I suppose before I get any further into today's show, it won't be a 420 news without an old 420 protest. So we'll pack up an old bowl there and engage in another act of civil disobedience today. Protest as much as I can. So yeah. So apologies, guys, if you're out there and you don't have cannabis, but do you know what I mean? I'll smoke this one in solidarity with you guys, you know. I'll hold you all dear, or you all hold a dear place in my heart. I hate knowing that there's people out there suffering without cannabis. You know, that's not to say that it's addictive and you're out there going through withdrawals. It's just like, you know, why shouldn't you be allowed access to it? You can go down to the bloody off license and get a beer if you wanted to. Why shouldn't you be able to get access to cannabis? You know what I mean? It's an amazing bloody herb, and as it's the healing of the nation, man. So like that, to my buddy Bob as well, and to all my homies out there, blaze on up. Ah, Podge, man, I haven't had a smoke in 5 days for F's sake, stupid COVID. Shite. Yeah, man, sorry to hear about that, man. And John Finnegan saying this is the point in the show. Martin makes us jealous. That's not my intention, lads. Certainly not. I would always hope that you're out there blazing up with me, guys. That's always my intention. I'm not on there to make people jealous. No, not at all. Certainly not. And guys, yeah, throughout the show there, I've a poll that's running. I see some comment coming in there from Podge, up on YouTube there. So there's a poll out there for sun-grown cannabis versus indoor cannabis. If you had a choice, which would you prefer? You can put your vote in through the comments. This is my first time doing a poll on a show, and I'll see if I can get the results up there at the end of the show when I'm addressing that issue. There was a kind of an experiment, I suppose, if you will, done over in California where they have the freedom to grow cannabis, and they done one sun-grown versus indoor-grown under lights. So if you had a choice out there, what would you prefer? So you can put your comment in you can put your vote in the comments by commenting. I think it's sun or indoor. They're the two options. So hopefully that will work out. My first time running a poll, and we'll see how it goes. And I'll have the results hopefully at the end of the show for you guys. So right, let's actually get into the news. 15 minutes into it, and I haven't even done a news piece yet, guys. I apologise for that. Bloody procrastination with us stoners, huh? But the first bit of news, guys, is coming out of Drogheda. Drogheda, which is probably well known around Ireland for the ongoing drug feud that was up there, more in relation probably to the sale and supply of cocaine. But cannabis also has its place up there in Drogheda, where a man was arrested in Drogheda and over €6,000 worth of cannabis was seized after what they're calling a growhouse was raided. Now, in fairness, like a growhouse, in fairness, this was a person's house. That's what was raided. It was not a grow house, and for sure, like the Gardai love to get their tweets out about this, and I'll get their tweet out there. There's their tweet. So the Gardai love to put their tweets up about their raids, but as I say, like this wasn't a grow house. This was an individual's home where he was just at the same time growing cannabis there. But it wasn't a grow house, a house dedicated solely for the purpose of growing cannabis. You see here, like on the pictures, you have two different areas as it looks to be, one flowering and one with some plants in a vegetative state, and some lovely looking flowering plants here. In fairness, like these are probably only about maybe 2 weeks tops away from harvest, like, so my condolences to whoever it is that was at the fucking wrong end of the stick here, because you must be feeling very bad right now. You were you're after putting a lot of hard work into this, and all of that hard work is going to be now destroyed. You probably had a little network of people around you who you were looking after and supplying and taking away from the organized criminal gangs out there. While this very well could have been for a single patient grow, because that amount of cannabis there very well could be just used for one patient. That could be maybe a patient who grows cannabis just once a year. They do one grow, and when they finish it, they're done. Then they have enough for a year or so. This could be done for making oil. We don't know what the situation is here, but it's only 6 grams worth of cannabis, like a small number of plants. In fairness, like. You see here their little vegging area. It's a disgrace, like, that this kind of stuff is going on, and this person is going to suffer in silence out there. Like, what's going to go on out there right now is this person is after being raided. They're after being brought to the station. They're getting questions, statements, and all this shit, and then they go home. They're going to sit at home now. They're going to say nothing probably for maybe a year or so, and then they get brought to court. They're going to hopefully try to plea if they've never been in trouble before, which quite often is the case in situations like this where people are growing cannabis. They've never been caught with drugs before, and they might plead a case. And they spend the whole year worrying, anxiety, all of that suffering to go to court. Then maybe 2-3 court appearances it will take before finally they'll either get a slap in the wrist, an opportunity to pay money into the poor box, or they're going to get a sentence, but it'll be suspended. And again, adding then to the mental problems, the mental health problems that person could face in terms of the anxiety and the worry there. Shit, I've now got a conviction. I'm going to be less employable. This person might actually lose their job if they happen to have one in this situation. The anxiety then that hangs over their head, like, I better be a good boy now for however long their sentence is suspended for. Like, and then they're not growing cannabis anymore then either, you know what I mean? Which was probably bringing them much joy in their life. Going up, watering their plants every evening, taking care of them, doing little bits of pruning, because they were nice looking plants, in fairness. Like, that's some well-grown plants, they were well taken care of. Like, so clearly this person had an interest and a passion for what they were doing, and now unfortunately they're going to be punished. And if you're out there, if you know this person, if you are this person, get in touch with me. I'd love to be able to support you. I'd love to be able to hear the backstory to this, because are you a patient? Were you growing for medical reasons? Are you just a normal consumer of cannabis who likes cannabis and you like growing cannabis? And maybe you have a small network of friends that you were supporting with this. Maybe there was like 5 or 6 of you that were all benefiting off of this, where you might have been making a small little bit of pocket change there. That would have been payment, I suppose, for your time and effort going to grow this, like. But you're probably not making millions, like, you know what I mean? I guarantee you're not driving around the gaff in a bloody Bugatti Veyron or something like that, you know what I mean? Wearing nothing but a Hilfiger or, I don't know, Dolce & Gabbana, I don't know, whatever the trendy clothes are there, shopping in Debenhams. you probably weren't doing that, like, you most likely weren't. You were probably living a very modest lifestyle and quite happy that you were being self-sufficient in providing your own cannabis for yourself. So do get in touch. I'd love to support you, because this shit of keeping your head down and saying nothing and hoping you can go to court and maybe get off with a slap in the wrist or a suspended sentence, we need to be making fucking noise. Challenge these charges. I don't care what the backdrop is, whether you're a patient or whether you're a person just growing for yourself and a few friends. If you're making a couple of €100, if you're making a couple of €1,000, I don't give a shit anymore. I want to support everyone who's growing cannabis out there. We need to come together, because like we're going to suffer alone. United we stand, divided we fall. We all need to come together and to fight this together through the courts. Challenge the charges. Give them a headache. Do you know, when I say like 2 or 3 court appearances, make it 5 or 6, make it 7. Do you know what I mean? Appeal any conviction you get against you. Appeal it. It's your right to appeal it, and it will cost you nothing as long as you're not paying for your legal team, I suppose, to appeal any case. Even if you have free legal aid, you're able to appeal it, and then you might have to represent yourself at the circuit court if they don't provide you with legal aid at that point. But still, challenge the charges. Let's not make this easy we've been making it so easy from all the years. We're all literally like doormats. We just let them walk all fucking over us. Like, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, I'll be a good boy sir, do you know what I mean? I'll never do this again sir. I had a drug addiction problem sir. I was doing this to feed my habits, sir. I'm such a bad person. Please slap me on the wrist, Your Honour. Stop it, lads. Let's not, let's challenge the charges. Let's make fucking noise, and let's wreck their heads as much more than what they've wrecked our heads up to this point. So again, shout out to whoever it was up in Drogheda who got caught with this. I forgot actually to read out the little news piece. I just started ranting about it really. But one man was arrested. This man aged in his 40s. He was arrested, and he's going to be, as I said, he's released now. Investigations ongoing. Ridiculous. This was after Gardai carried out a search of a house in the Laois area, where approximately it was €6,400 worth of cannabis and other drug-related paraphernalia were discovered. And was this 2 raids? Apologies, guys, there now for this. There was 2 raids, I believe. So in one of them, they found cannabis resin. Pending analysis, and in another one they found a cannabis cultivation operation where plants were seized, approximately $6,000. So 2 raids there apparently. yeah, that was a confusing one. Sorry about that there. No, I only seen one part of that article. I hadn't read the entirety of it. But we drive on there to the next one because there was another man arrested, and he was up in court. This man was caught with what they're saying was a large stash of cannabis here. So this was a Lithuanian man, I believe, or was he Latvian? His name was Oleg Sergejski. He's 21 years of age, and he was charged with possession of cannabis and possession for sale and supply at the Rock of Demands on October 17, 2019. And this was when Sergeant J.J. Kirby, he witnessed the Volkswagen Jetta acting suspiciously in the area. The car was acting suspiciously, you know what I mean? The car was like acting shady. In fairness, like I love how the guard, like they use this, like this is one of their ways in which they violate our rights to privacy. You're acting suspiciously. I'm going to search you for drugs because you must have drugs if you're acting suspiciously. You know what I mean? Like, and how can you prove you're not acting suspiciously then at that point? You know what I mean? Like, you can't really. You see how they violate your rights, how they've these powers, like how even if you're a non-drug user, you too you're having your rights violated because these Gardai abuse their powers all the time. And if they don't like the look of you, well, now you look suspicious, sir. I want to search your pockets, and it might simply because you have a fucking hoodie on. You know what I mean? Or because you're a young fella, you know what I mean? You're 17, 18, walking around the streets there of the north side of Cork, walking through the Glen or something like that. And it's like, oh, look at him, he looks suspicious. He's his hands in his pockets. Jeez, that's suspicious. Stop and search him there. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is bollocks. Like, the government are overstepping their boundaries. Like, this isn't, this is bollocks. Like. But anyway, like, the car was subsequently stopped and searched, and cannabis to the value of €5,200 was found. And the accused was arrested, and his defence solicitor said that he got involved in an enterprise due to a problem he had with weed. Well, do you know the only problem this man really had with weed is he got caught with it. In reality, like that's the only problem this man had is what he got caught with weed. Like, how many of us had that problem out there? Like, I know that's certainly one that I faced myself, was the only problem cannabis caused me in my life was when I got caught with it. Do you know? Or maybe when I got caught with some shit that was sprayed with fiberglass. That was another problem caused to me in my life by cannabis. But that wasn't even the cannabis that caused my life. That was the fiberglass on my cannabis, which shouldn't have been there. Huh? But the guy pleaded guilty anyway to the charges, and the Judge Staines, presiding over the case, said it was an absolute huge amount of drugs. And she said that the drugs caused so much misery and havoc, particularly for young people. Children as young as 10 or 11 were using cannabis, she said. And she said, that's all your fault. That's all your fault. Well, she didn't actually say that part. That's me adding in that extra part saying that that's all your fault. But that's pretty much what she's saying, like. So she's punishing this man because our drug policies allow criminals to sell cannabis to kids as young as 10 or 11. So you as a person who sells cannabis, now you're guilty of doing that, so you're going to be held responsible and punished because of that. That's fucked up. That really is so messed up, like. And in this case, she gave the man a 6-month sentence. So he's going to be up in prison now for 6 months. Obviously, I know the prison system in this country is it doesn't work. This guy will go in, he'll spend maybe a couple of days in there, maybe a week, and then the governor of the prison will give him a TR, temporary release. And the guy is going to jump through hoops to get it. He's going to be a good boy up there, and he knows he'll get it if he just is good, keep his nose clean, and he'll get it. It's simple. He'll get TR, and then as part of that TR, he'll have to show up at a Garda station, maybe daily, maybe a number of times a week. Who knows what they might set out for the conditions for him. For me, it was daily. So think about it now, okay? You're at home, you're a 60, 70-year-old lady, and you're getting burgled. You manage to somehow get onto the guard station, you know what I mean? Get your phone and ring the Garda station, but now the guard doesn't answer the phone. Why? Because the guard is fucking standing at the counter dealing with a queue of people coming in, bloody signing a book, who don't need to be, because their only crime is they got caught with cannabis. Because that happened with me. I was there, I went up to the Garda station and I had to get the book signed. And while that guard was getting and bringing the book to me, that phone rang and that phone went unanswered. That happened while I was there watching, and I witnessed that, and I felt bad for that. I was wasting that guard's time. My only crime was I was caught with cannabis. Like, this is how we're all paying for this. Like, it was so messed up. Like, but anyway, this guy, this is all going to be off the back of us as taxpayers. How do we benefit from this? The free legal aid that this guy got, you know, he got free legal aid in this case. The time of the judge, that again is paid for by taxpayers. The time of the Gardai, paid for by taxpayers. The time of the director for public prosecutions, paid for by taxpayers. The prison service, taxpayers. The food and all of that, like, you know what I mean? All of that stuff has to be provided for this guy while he's in there. And this guy actually even gets €5 a day while he's in prison. I think that's what he gets into his commissary or something, commensary. I don't know what it's called. That fucking pocket money box that they have inside in the prison where the boys can buy commissary. That's the word I was trying to think of. But you know, like, that this is the shit. Like, why are we standing for this, guys? We need to be out. Like, I hope, like, very soon, to, like, while I was happy with my protest being 20 and 30, you know, and small numbers like this, over the course of the summer, I hope to be able to get hundreds of people out, all engaged in civil disobedience, just consuming cannabis openly, publicly, and maybe all of us marching to a Garda station together to say, hey, fuck off and leave us alone. Like, you know, like the gays did. We need to come out of the closet. We're here, we're queer, get used to it. Do you know what I mean? That was the slogan. We need to come up with our own, man. Like, you know what I mean? We're here, we're stoned, and fuck off, leave us alone. But that's what we need to replicate. We need to come out and put large numbers, you know, and even if it is only 10, 20 of us that march to the Garda station, I want to see that start to happen. I'm in court tomorrow, by the way, like, you know, and I'm using my court case as a protest, and I've no problem doing that. And if that ends up with me in prison, expect the next bit of audio you hear from me could be a 6-minute phone call being recorded coming from whatever prison they might send me to. But I'm well prepared to do that because, you know, it's like, fuck that, like Bob Marley said, like, well, Jesus, man, what was the quote again? I don't want to paraphrase what Bob Marley actually said. I had it up there in me Yoki yesterday. But it's just like, you know, the sentiment of it is like, why live on your knees when, yeah, you'd rather die on your feet than live on your knees. You know what I mean? That's the sentiment. Geez, I forgot that quote. Like, but Bob Marley said something as well along the same lines of that. And it was better to die fighting for freedom than be a prisoner all the days of your life. And that's effectively what we are, you know, this idea of freedom, like, you know, you freedom, but no, you don't. Like, really, you freedom, but you can't grow cannabis. You can't have a prophylactic plant in your possession, which is going to help maybe mitigate any serious health problems you get as part of aging, such as Alzheimer's. And there's a lot of evidence out there to support this. But look, we won't get on with that because I'll never get through the news. Otherwise, go on, Bob Marley. The next headline, and keep in mind the last one where your man got 6 months in prison. So this guy, man, 26 years of age, who was caught carrying drugs in his jocks, avoids a prison sentence. This guy was caught with cannabis, 20 grams worth of cannabis, and a bit of cocaine as well. He was after disposing of the shopping bag, which contained 20 grams worth of cannabis. And he had what was said to be 10 deals of cocaine wrapped up, sealed up in his jocks. But this guy McAvoy, anyway, from Tala, he pleaded guilty at the Dublin Circuit Criminal Court to possession of cannabis and cocaine for sale and supply on March 14th, 2020. He has no previous convictions, and the prosecuting said that when on the day in question, he was on mobile patrol in the Avonbeg area of Tala when he observed a group of men walking on a footpath, including the accused man. Garda Walsh said McAvoy was carrying a shopping bag, which he discarded as Gardaí approached. The bag was found behind a wall containing cannabis with a value of just under 20 grand. When the Gardaí asked if he had anything else, McAvoy said he had a quantity of cocaine in his jocks, and he surrendered the 10 deals of cocaine, which had a combined value of just under €600. Garda Walsh described McAvoy as being the unfortunate patsy who was carrying the drugs on the day, and that he was not the one of the main players. The Garda agreed, defending that his client volunteered that he had cocaine on his person and took responsibility for the drugs. He agreed McAvoy had a substantial debt due to his addiction to cocaine, and Garda Walsh agreed with the council that his debt had subsequently been paid off in full. How did he do that? Maybe he was dealing drugs. Sinead McAvoy, the mother of the accused, told O'Higgins that her son was diagnosed with ADHD and began smoking cannabis when he was aged 14. So here we go again, another example of a young fella failed by prohibition when he was diagnosed with ADHD, and maybe cannabis was being beneficial for him rather than getting it from his therapist or from a qualified health professional. He got it from criminals. And what did these criminals do to him? They made him fucking take cocaine as well. Well done, prohibitionists, man. Well fucking done. Job well done. Cannabis out there in places like America, there's kids over there suffering with things like ADHD, and yes, they do have drops, tinctures, appropriate types of medicines which can be administered to these kids with the aid of health professionals too, minus all of the stigma. You know what I mean? Here we have a prime example of a young fellow who grew up in a model of prohibition where he was fucking he was self-medicating with cannabis at a young age, and because of where he was getting his cannabis from, he grew up into a life of dealing, you know what I mean? He's walking the streets now with cocaine in his jocks. Man, well done, prohibitionists, man. Really, like, you're insane bunch of lunatics. Like, and do you want to continue this kind of shit? Like, fuck me. Oh, it really annoys me, like. Mustawa is nice on there for that super chat. You're a legend. Nice on for that. Always appreciate everybody who supports the show, guys. And the super chats is just one small way if you can do that. Mustawa says, good to see you yesterday. Nice one for that. As I say, guys, check out the Facebook page there if you want to see the little protest that I held in Cork yesterday in honour of Bob Marley and for the legalisation of cannabis. This guy, anyway, who was caught with the cannabis and the cocaine in his jocks, the judge gave him a suspended sentence, a 12-month suspended sentence, suspended for 3 years. Our apologies, no, I got that backwards. She gave him a 3-year sentence suspended for 12 months on strict conditions. You know what I mean? Yeah, lucky him. He gets off in a suspended sentence. He got caught with over 26 grand worth, or 20 grand's worth of drugs. The last fella, 21, got caught with only cannabis. That's all. He only got caught with cannabis, the last guy. And, you know, he got 6 months in prison. That's bollocks. Like, there's very little consistency here at all in our law. These judges kind of like pick and choose what they want to do, and they want to make headlines, you know, with that last judge bringing the kids into it. Oh, kids as young as 10 or 11, you know what I mean? And that judge now goes home and is like feeling all high and mighty about themselves. Ha! I gave somebody 6 months now today because of the harm being done to drugs about kids. Not realising, actually, judge, you're doing a bigger part, you're a bigger part of the harm to these kids than you might think. Your ignorance, like, you know, fuck, man. Let's drive on and get through this news, because 3 men were arrested after Gardai seized more than 188 grand in cash during separate raids in Dublin. And quite a bit of cash, like 188 grand's worth of cash. And as Sinn Féin and a few others are hoping this can be put back into the communities in which they were seized from, again, you know, giving more reason for these guys then to go out and carry out these kind of raids. But meanwhile, we all know the damage that's done by perpetuating this fucking silly war on drugs. It's the opposite way we need to be going. We shouldn't be putting more bloody things in place around the war on drugs. We need to be dismantling this prohibition of drugs, not propping it up with silly supports like, oh, when the money is seized, it's going to go back into communities. That's great and very positive. This war on drugs is great. Look, money from the drugs was taken and it built the playground. But meanwhile, there's kids 8, 9 and 10 around that playground smoking cannabis. Well done, prohibition. Like, you know what I mean? Lunatics, like. But again, like, this is how they benefit. They get to have their tweets. They get to prop up their numbers. And really, it's our communities are suffering. Our young people are suffering, and as a result of all of this, multiple raids here. 3 men aged 36, 38 and 40 arrested. This involved like multiple units again of our Gardaí, including the Special Crime Task Force, the Garda Dog Unit. You know, quite an extensive operation. Again, like, what? Imagine if we put all of those man hours into something more meaningful. There's old people out there who don't have visitors. You know what I mean? Like, surely, and I know the Gardai do this. They've been tweeting about that as well. Like, they call around to some of the elderly residents. They're doing a little bit of shopping and hanging out the washing and shit like that. Do more of that, please, and less of this. This shit is bollocks. You're fucking up our communities. Like, you shouldn't be doing this in the first place. This whole war on drugs, it was created by a bunch of lunatics, and they're after making our society damaged. And the only way to undo the damage is by removing this prohibition, providing a safe and regulated avenue for people to get access to their drug of choice, and caring for people who might develop addictions to any drug. And a lot of the times we would learn that actually these people, their addiction to this drug is just a symptom of a much bigger problem, such as mental health, abuse, trauma-related issues, things like that. But no, war on drug continues. Prohibitionists keep pouting the line. The misinformation continues. The Bobby Smiths, the Mary Cannons, like they continue. They're lunatics. These people are fucking lunatics. Like, they might think I'm a lunatic, and I might have to go to prison because our society is fucked up. But I'm going to keep my head held high, and I know I don't have anything wrong with me. I don't. Like, I know my views and opinions. Like, they definitely are righteous. Like, this is definitely the right way, and in time to come, I believe I will be on the right side of history. That's my belief. Like, so I'm going to stay fucking full steam ahead. I ain't taking the foot off this pedal at all. And we'll drive on, because there was more raids above in Dublin, above in Darndale actually, above in Dublin, where cannabis chilies, cocaine, heroin, and cash was seized, along with a stun gun. And again, the Gardai thinking that they're doing great. They get their tweet out about it, saying, "Oh, look at us, we're doing great. Look at all of this stuff that we're seizing. You know what I mean? Well done, us." And here's a little close up there of all of the products. But again, like, the most alarming thing here for me is, right, cannabis, cocaine, heroin, and jellies. Why are all four of these things together? And a stun gun. Prohibition. You know what I mean? If you go down to an off license, if you go to the local supermarket where they also sell drugs, yes, they sell drugs. You go to your chemist, and you do not find these things. You don't find stun guns. You don't find an unregulated product all mixed together. So you've got potentially, you know what I mean, as the media was trying to blast on about there not too long ago, how the drug dealers are targeting our kids with all of these products. Like, really, like, what if the drug dealers run out of fucking, I don't know, the jellies, like? Or what if they start coming up with some stupid idea of, like, I don't know, like mixing cocaine with fucking powder sugar and sprinkling that all over the jellies just for an extra kick, like, you know what I mean? Maybe that's going to be the next thing created because of prohibition. A product that probably never would have really came into existence, and just because of mine saying it now, some fool is out there thinking, like, oh, maybe that is a good idea. You know what I mean? But really, like, that's the real danger here. You've got some kids coming buying cannabis off of this guy. They get into debt to this guy, and meanwhile, this guy kind of says, "Hey, come here, look, that 50 quid you owe me? Just take this backpack there, look, and go down the road, and there's going to be a car come by, and just give them the backpack there, and we'll forget about €50, man." The young fella's like, "This, and I can keep my €50. Actually, can I just get another 50 bag so off you, please, boy? Yeah, just give me another 50 bag, boy, and I'll still give you the €50. Like, there's the 50, but you know what I mean? Like, the kids, like, that's the danger, like, because that's their thinking. I know myself, if I was given that opportunity as a young person, like, I would have been very fucking tempted, like. If he came along and said, "Come here, look, I'll give you an ounce of hash there, look, if you take the backpack there and run down the road there, look, and there's going to be a car, give them the backpack there." What? Oh, yeah, that's easy, but I can do that. Oh, yeah, not bother. Try the backpack on my back, walk down the road. Next comes along fucking Mr. Do-Good or cop, and he's like, "That kid's acting suspiciously. That bag is hanging off of only one shoulder." Or something stupid, like, you mean you're acting suspicious, like, and you get nabbed. You get fucking nabbed, like. Fucked up, like, isn't it, like? Or the stun gun, like, you know what I mean? You want to do 50 quid and he doesn't want you to carry the backpack. He says, "Come here and have a go off of me stun gun, kid." And can give me my 50 quid or I'll give you another go off me stun gun. Ah, man, these prohibitionists who want this kind of system in place, man, you're lunatics, like. Our kids are fucking dying on the streets. They're getting shot. They're getting stabbed. Like, you know, like our Gardai are powerless to do anything. End this prohibition. Take the drugs away from the criminals, the organised crime gangs, who makes up over 40% of their trade. Over 40% of their trade is drugs. Take that fucking stuff away from them, man. Seriously, like. But we'll drive into this article because above in Darndale, it was a 20-year-old who got arrested, and it was €1,500 in total. The drugs were worth. It was $4,000 in cash that was seized from the property as well. So again, another young man here caught up in this. $4,000 in cash, kind of indicating that business was good. And you just don't know who he's selling it to, or do you know who was selling it for him? It's fucked up, like. But the fact that he had $4,000 there, that indicates business was good anyway. Like, there was a flow of cash coming in. This guy now, 20s, is going to be brought in, questioned, and all of this shit. He gets back out on the street, and he's now down $4,000. He probably owed that, like. That's probably the reality, really. Like, he has $4,000 in cash there, but he's probably owes about $3,000 or $4,000, maybe even more, because he still hasn't paid for the drugs that he might have gotten tick. You just don't know what the crack is there, like. But you know, this is Ireland, feel like. And in more positive news, coming on outside of Ireland, guys, you know, let's take a breather there, because I've only positive news to share with you from this point on. Less ranty, I suppose. But in Malawi, the president of Malawi says, as tobacco sales decline, Malawi must switch to cannabis. So go on, man, fucking right on. I don't know what the crack is with this dude. This dude could be the most corrupt guy in the world. I don't know. This is the only thing I know about this president of Malawi, is based on a single article I've read about him and what he's doing, and it is true. It's verified. Like, the president of Malawi has come out and said that basically the tobacco was it was such a good, strong source of income for the country. That now basically the sales have declined dramatically. Like, his description was a terminal decline in sales, and he urged a switch to high growth crops like cannabis. And cannabis was legalized there actually last year for certain forms of uses. Obviously, it hasn't been legalized for wider recreational use. I think they're only looking at medical, obviously, because there's probably from some big companies coming down there. As I say, this guy could be corrupt as fuck. And he's probably getting a few brown envelopes in order to let this stuff happen. I don't know, maybe he's not. Maybe he's a really cool dude. He's an opposition kind of guy. As I say, I don't really know much about Malawi. All I do know is that they're fucking seem to be a bit more progressive there than Ireland anyway in regards to cannabis. Because still here in Ireland, our farmers still can't even grow cannabis effectively. It's still treated like, a drug. It's like, if you're a farmer and you want to grow cannabis, you have to get permission from the government. You have to be a person in good standing with the law. You know what I mean? You can't really have convictions. If you have convictions, hey, that's a red flag there, buddy. We don't think we want to give you a license to grow some hemp. Malawi's parliament, it says here that they passed a bill in February last year that makes it legal to cultivate and process cannabis for medicines and hemp fibre used in industry, but stops short of decriminalising recreational use. So hopefully maybe they can do something there in regards to that. Maybe that's part of what he's suggesting here. He says that I have directed the Ministry of Agriculture to begin a radical search for a basket of alternative crops so that by 2030, Malawi can do away with its reliance on tobacco, except in limited cases where there are pre-agreed quotas. Countries around the world are either legalizing or relaxing laws on cannabis, including several southern Africa countries such as Zambia, Lesotho, and Zimbabwe. So there you go. Like, things are changing certainly around the world. Who would have thunk it? Like, that we would have seen maybe legalization of cannabis in some forms happening over in places like Zimbabwe and things like that before they happened here in Ireland. But that's the kind of a backwards world that we live in. So in the final bit of news then I have for you today, guys, sun-grown versus indoor cannabis. This was a video that was put out. This was a little challenge that was done there over in California, I believe it was. Sorry, Darren, I'm just going getting her up on screen. Boom, there we go. Hopefully you don't pull me for this music either. I probably don't have licenses for this music. How are we now? Are we back? There we go. I think I'm back. Guys, apologies for that. Again, you know, I made it switch around from the two things, so my apologies. I'm going to play this video. It's basically the sun-grown challenge, which was carried out over in California, which was done using California's finest indoor-grown cannabis and outdoor-grown cannabis, sun-grown. So check it out, and I'm going to pack up a bowl while you check that out.
Coca-Cola says it's the real thing. Take the Pepsi challenge and let your taste decide.
I'm a weed journalist and the editor at Mary Jane, and I am here to do the Sun-Grown Challenge.
Yo, this is Stoner Man from the Compton Cowboys.
We're here to do the sun-grown test, so we're excited, and yeah.
It's called the Sun-Grown Challenge.
Challenge.
Today we're gonna
Stoners.
compare sun-grown and indoor cannabis.
I've been a New Yorker my whole life, and for us, it's only been indoor weed.
Well, the only reason why we went indoors is to hide from the law enforcement. So originally, it was all sun-grown.
My safe word is sativa dominant.
It's not my first time I've been blindfolded and things have been placed in front of me.
Oh, I love this.
You know that like we're not going to tell you which one is which.
Right, absolutely. It's just based on me. Okay, cool.
Dense.
That's got a real bite to your throat.
Very nice. So is this the organic one?
We can't tell you.
It smells just like a meadow. This is very fresh.
It almost tastes the soil.
Feels a little hard. I'm getting a very strong citrus vibe.
It's very piney, turpentine, greasy. I dig it. This one's my favorite.
I think it's my favorite.
Yeah, me too.
It has the elevated terps, but it doesn't have a bite.
Yeah, I just love this one. Like, I don't want my joint to go out.
It definitely has a more pronounced flavor and smell. Tastes the best. I prefer this one.
There's much more layers of flavor.
Yeah, it smelled the best, tastes the best. It was a whole forest experience.
Oh, how was that?
Perfecto. So there you go, guys. I would have loved to have been able to take part in that challenge over there. That would have been epic. Fucking sun-grown cannabis versus indoor-grown cannabis. And here, like, we don't even have a choice. Like, you know what I mean? As Blind Boy kind of put it on his piece, it's kind of either, you know, you either want it or you don't want it. Like, you know, that's the only choice you have here when it comes to cannabis. Often or not, you don't know what strain you're getting, whether it be indica sativa. You don't have a clue, like. You don't even know if it's going to be even real cannabis half the time, like, you know, depending on where you get it from. But despite that, over in California, the Lucky Ducks, they got access to choice, man, and kids are protected because there's age limits, there's quality assurance, all of that good fun stuff that you would want to have in place in a kind of a system where drugs are sold, really, like. Yeah, it seems like that poll that I started getting done anyway, I haven't been able to do it successfully, so I don't know what you prefer out there, guys. What would you prefer, though? Like, you know, the myth goes is that, like, oh, if cannabis is legalized, everybody's going to be growing it indoors, and it's going to be, like, fucking sucking off of the grid and so bad for the environment and all of this nonsense. But really, I think I know that the reality is that most people would prefer an outdoor grown, sun grown, organic cannabis, and that seems to be the case there in that sun grown challenge. Over 2/3 of the people who voted in it voted for sun grown. So therefore, you know, to the prohibitionists out there who would say, like, oh, legalizing cannabis is going to be bad for the environment, take a jog, like, you know what I mean? All your arguments against the ending of this silly prohibition have been proven wrong. You know, cannabis doesn't rot your brain. Really doesn't. Cannabis, it doesn't cause schizophrenia. It doesn't. Cannabis isn't a cause of the lowering of IQ. That's been proven in the twin study, where it's been shown that that person who's been used in studies where they show a decline in IQ, that person, like, their twin equivalent who didn't use cannabis, they also, like, they kind of they were going to have a decline in their IQ anyway. That's just a natural part of aging process for some people. They decline a bit faster than they would expect. So loads of myths there that we need to be dispelling, but I'm always happy to do it. I see some dude out there as well. What was his name? Andrew or something. I don't know what the crack is with you there, man. If you want to come on the show and have a debate, if you're on the prohibitionist side, man, glad to have you, man. It's not my fault that none of the prohibitionists want to come on and engage against me and my views. I'll have a friendly debate, a civil debate. I know how to debate civilly. I know how to not shout at a person. I will listen to what they say. I will repeat back to what they say while refuting it. You know, if it's to be refuted, and if I agree with what they say, I have no shame in admitting I agree with what you say in this. Such as things like, yes, I do want to protect kids from using cannabis. Yes, I do think it's problematic for kids to use cannabis at a young age, unless it's under the guidance of a health professional, because of some other underlying issue there that the kid might have. That's the only time I'd approve of kids having things. So there's definitely ways in which I would agree with prohibitionists, but the way in which we might achieve those things is where we disagree, and that's okay. But I would happily have them on here for a debate, but no, they're the cowards. Do you know what I mean? It's not my fault, like. So, yeah, man. A nice one there, guys, for engaging there in the comments section. See, Podge is jealous of all the panelists voting on that. Andrew saying here, ask them how they feel about a score bag scored in Mallow. What's the crack, man? Did you get ripped off in Mallow or what? I don't know what's going on. Not top quality grown weed in America. Yeah, man. You seem to have a bit of a chip in your shoulder there about everybody, man. WRT Gunner had my glass bong delivered 20 minutes ago. Joker design looks cool as fuck. Excellent, man. Savage the hair. I love breaking in a new bong. You know, and hopefully it's not breaking, literally breaking it. I had one fucking bong before. It was over 4 foot, and it got knocked over. It's heartbroken, man. So do take care of those glass pieces, guys. other comments there as well. Andreas, he says all these Taoiseachs are scumbags and they're stupid. Yeah, man, I definitely don't disagree with you there, alright, but gangsters in suits. And I see a few votes coming in there as well. I see a few votes for Sun coming up there as well. So nice one there, Scatanist. Ashlyn as well. What's happening, Ashlyn? She says, I would prefer outdoor, but too hard in Ireland with the rain. Greenhouse might be in between. Because I think if we were allowed to grow outdoors here in Ireland, if we were just able to grow outdoors in Ireland to the fullest of our abilities, I guarantee you we would be producing fucking primo quality outdoor buds. With the aid of greenhouses and things like that, obviously. But certainly we would be growing some primo buds, that's for sure, under the sun, without the need for artificial lights and all of that kind of stuff. I think I would be quite certain in that. And we wouldn't be able to compete with maybe some other nations, but definitely we would have our own quality cannabis that would be grown here. Podge as well, what's happening? He says, I'll have no problem saying it to your face, Andrew. No, lads, let's keep it civil. Yeah, I see loads of comments coming in there as well, guys. Lots of disagreements coming in there with Mr. Andrew. These things happen. Good man, Martin. At least you're open to debate on like half the followers. They just want to follow and agree with you. I'd love cannabis to be available in a dispensary, but look at Veritumi ends up in heartbreak. Yeah, I don't know what the crack is, man. I think like you're agreeing with me. So what's the problem with other people agreeing with me? I don't see the issue really. I'm not sure where the problem is arising there. But yeah, certainly, like, look at Vera, like, that's our issue here, and I suppose that's one of the things I'm trying to do at my show is to reach out to the people, to the wider cannabis audience, people who consume cannabis regularly, you know, not for any serious medical condition, because my idea is that basically, like, well, why rely on Vera? Why let Vera be at the forefront of this fight when it's us well-abled people should be there? She's been punished because of us. I don't use cannabis for any severe medical condition, and I'm well able to fight for the ending of the prohibition, and the prohibition is what causes so much problems for Vera. But yeah, man, I'm very well open to debate. If I don't know if there's any other issues there that are arising that I'm missing, man, I'd gladly facilitate a debate with anyone. Ross Green told me, says, I have a Grace glass bong and it served me well. And I've had multiple Grace glass bongs, and in fact that 4-foot one was actually a Grace glass bong as well. It was a lovely one. I had it for maybe about a month or so. It was a present for my birthday. But Grace glass, yeah, certainly good. It's good budget glass, I suppose, really. There's no real craftsmanship, I suppose, in it. It's definitely mass produced, I would imagine. All machine made. I'd love to be getting my hands maybe soon on some of that doozy glass. The lads in Ireland making their own bongs and stuff like that. I'd love to be able to support an industry here around glass blowing. I love seeing some of the pieces there up on Instagram there as well. There's some serious glass blowers like making decent little dab rigs and things like that. I'd love to see a community of people here who are just passionate about making these things, and it's their hobby. And they make a little bit of pocket change based on their hobby, or they might actually even turn it into a lifelong career. You know, glass blowing is cool, man. They make some really intricate pieces, like dabbing rigs, or just like real ornaments. Like some of them are sold for millions. Like I think the most expensive bong was sold. I don't know, did it go over $1 million? I think it might have been 2 million. I can't remember. It was a few months ago when I was looking at the most expensive bongs in the world, and there are some really fucking cool pieces out there, in fairness, like really detailed, like, and that's all from a community, a culture like around cannabis, really, like all these bong pieces and glass pieces, like, so I'd love to see that be fostered here in Ireland. You know, so well done to the lads at Doozy, doozy.ie. Check out their glass pieces. But lads, if you want to sponsor the show, I've done that one for free. We'll see what happens. They might send me down a bong. I'm going to be buying one soon anyway for myself once I can fucking afford it. I want to get the snapper. It's like over 200 quid, and I want to get a custom logo put onto it, Martin's World blasted onto it. So that'd be really cool. Other comments there. Skatana says, I grew in the sun on the windowsill last year, but by June all the sun had vanished and my plants stretched like mad. I had to buy an LED light and send them into the wardrobe to finish them up. See, yeah, that happens, all right. In Ireland, we can be hit and miss with the weather. But certainly, I suppose, if you have the benefit of adding artificial light, supplementary light, really, on those shadier days, that's always a good thing as well. It'll just add to the yield. But really, like a growing season here, if you use a well fucking acclimatized variety, you'd certainly be getting the results. Like, it's just something that it'll take time to get the varieties here queued into the air, even though there probably is certain regions we could be taking genetics from that would be already almost acclimatized to here. But again, it's just a process of getting it going. It's all about genetics, really, when it comes to plants, cannabis. Like, it's really about genetics, and then everything else comes after genetics. You know, if you start with shit genetics, you could have all the sun, you could have all the other good shit, like, and it's going to be bad. You know what I mean? Bad genetics. WRT Gunner, he says, I'd love to get a greenhouse someday, 100% organic. Build your own, man. I'd highly recommend build your own. I love DIY projects and just building shit. So yeah, I built my own polytunnel out the back garden, and it's getting filled up now quite nicely. I just added chilies out there the other day. Chili plants are doing quite well now, and one of them fucking fell over actually and broke, and I managed to harvest my first 2 chilies from that one. But I'm waiting for the other chilies now to turn red, and I'll start harvesting them then as well. And yeah, Daily Talker here saying cheap greenhouse is 35 quid, so do check out the cheap greenhouses available as well. You get those little pop-up ones. They're not really worth the feck when it comes to it. Like, you know, they don't stand the test against heavy weather and shit like that, those cheaper ones. At least the ones I've got didn't. They weathered really badly. The sun kind of broke down some of the elements there that were holding it together. They were like plastic, but they weren't really UV resistant, so they were a bit problematic. So be cautious of that as well. Again, build your own, man. Just get a couple of sticks, stick them together, man. Get some polyethylene, PV that cover, that sheet stuff, polyethylene carbonate or something like that. I don't know what it's called, can't remember it now. But get that stuff anyway. Get the UV kind of stuff that'll allow the transition the rays into it, and build your own. Simple, like, and it'll cost you pennies, really. Like, you know, a couple of square meters of that stuff there, like, it'll be only about 20-30 euro, like, depending on where you get it. Shop local. Stay away from Amazon, lads. It's cheap shit, man. Come from China. Not against the Chinese, but man, they've some cheap fucking shit. Some of it ain't worth a crap. Steve Jones, can of cookies cooling while tea is brewing, bacon to get baked. Nice, man, nice. I might do a bit of bacon myself over the weekend. I was gifted some leaf that I'm going to be making into some butter, and I might make some cookies there as well myself, actually. That'd be quite nice there for the game of poker Saturday evening. John Finnegan says, Martin, it's just shows how popular the stream is getting when you have keyboard warriors coming on and trying to troll you. You're the content. Yeah, there seems to be a couple of incidents there over the last little while. Maybe there's people coming on here to draw a bit more attention to themselves. I don't know. As I say, kind of came across there that maybe Andrew did have a bit of a chip in his shoulder. But look, maybe he was just having a bad day. Maybe, Andrew, you need a hug, man. I'll give you a hug, man, if you want a hug. Podge says, at least I'll put my face forward to fight for something that's right, like my grandfather did once before. And that, man, Podge, you hit off something there before, I suppose, like a grandfather's before. I know my granddad, he went to war. He was over in Egypt, I believe it was, with the British Army at the time, fighting in the Irish battalion. And he went out there fighting for what he believed to be his part of to fight for freedom. And he went into a fight where there was a person on the other side with a gun ready to shoot him and take their life, like without hesitance, really, like. And that's they had no problem on going forward to face that challenge for their freedom. Look at our fight for freedom. Like all we're asking people to do is come out and do what you're already doing behind your closed door, and fucking, you know, let's break a law that's unjust. Let's do it together. Let's fight for our freedom in an environment where the opposition, their only thing that they can really do, you know, outside of maybe make you lose your job and all of this other shit, like, you know, but is lock you up and take away your freedom. They're going to feed you 3 square meals a day, you know, 3 hot meals a day, provide you with bed, you know, shelter, they'll give you clothes, hot showers, gym, leisure, you know, friends to socialize with, TV, 24-hour TV, you know, all of this shit, like, they give you all of this. This is their threat to take away our freedom. Like, get up off our asses, lads, and let's fight for our freedom. Like, it's people power, like the blind boy said, like in Ireland, the current mentality, the way which we've been behaving, it is going to be a case where in 4 or 5 years' time, big corporate interests are going to line the pockets of our politicians, and we'll get some corporate type of legalization where we won't be allowed to grow our own plants. We'll have to buy cannabis from fucking some McDonald's type brand, and it'll be all our own fault unless we act now. Get up off your asses, lads. Get out there, join your protest. Like, if you agree with the idea of cannabis access, if you want to be able to grow this plant yourself, if you believe the prohibition is wrong, get out and protest. Don't wait for other people to organise a protest. Organise your own protest. Like, I don't like, and as I said, I don't care if there's only 20 people come to your protest. That's a fucking protest, man, and that's the beginnings. Like, and then you build upon that, keep on doing it. Like, don't give up just because you only 20 people. Like, as my buddy said a while ago, like that's nearly twice as many as what they had and at the fucking the fight for independence. Like, you know, they're not a bother to them, man. The lads still went out and they fucking fought their hearts out, boy. Guerrilla warfare at its best. Yep, about that. But yeah, like that's definitely something I always say. Like, the people who fought for freedom before us, like they faced much greater oppression than what we're currently threatened with. So I don't see what the big deal is. I don't understand why there isn't much more people out there fighting for their right to be able to grow and access this plant. It's ludicrous, man. What are you waiting for? What are you afraid of? Like, and obviously, like, I know there's many people out there watching and listening to this right now, or who will listen to this later when it's after it's done. But like, I know you're all out there engaged, but man, how many more of us are not? Just think about it. Like, how many people do you know that won't come out to these protests? If you were to organise a protest in the morning, like, how many of our friends do you know that do consume cannabis would be like, I can't go to that. I couldn't. You know, because of shame, because of stigma, for fear. You know what I mean? Think about it. Like, there's a lot of us. Like, and those are the very people who are responsible for the current situation remaining as it is. If those people overcame that fear and just took the step out, you know, came out of the closet about who they are, about what they do, about their views, beliefs and opinions, we would have a much better society. We would see a changing of these laws much quicker. People power is fucking not to be underestimated, you know. The media, the government that's in power, like, don't let them dissuade you. We can do this. Like, we can rise up and we can make change happen. Like, but it's together that we'll do it, you know. And it's not online. It's not here in this podcast. It's not going to be on Twitter, Instagram, or any of these other places. It's out there in the fucking streets of Ireland is where the change is going to happen, and that's where we have to make it happen. So make your voice heard. Like, get your feet in the street. Raise your hands high in the air, like, fight for your freedom, guys, because they're not going to give it you if you just sit around and wait for it. Sorry, but they're not. I wish they would. I really do wish they would, like, but that's not been the case in the past with other governments who've taken away freedoms from people. Like, the people have to fight for those freedoms back. You have to fight for them. Andrew, funny thing is, I smoke way more than these lick pumps. Whether it's legal or illegal, I can still access it day or night. I can take the RSO oil if I have any cancer symptoms. I'm not against Martin or the podcast. Some people just don't want the debate. The way I look at it, politicians have weed illegal so they can hire people to prosecute innocent people and prohibit a real medicine. Man, I think like what you're saying here, a lot of the listeners would agree with you as well, man. I think you're all singing from the same hymn sheet. So let's fucking sing together, Andrew, rather than singing against each other, because do you know what I mean? When a choir gets in sync, really fucking the harmony that happens, like, you know, let's sing together, guys. Let's make noise. Let's not call each other lick bums. Like, I don't see anybody out here licking ass. Like, I think if there's anybody out there who would disagree with me, they would. But I think, like, just because of my podcast, the way in which it's developed, like, it's just resonates with people, so they come to it. Like, if you disagreed with me, you're not going to be out there sitting and listening and commenting, you know. Unless you just happened to come by it by chance because it's live streaming and it might have popped up in your thing and you just disagreed with something you heard me say. But by and large, most listeners would agree with me, like, and that's what happens, echo chambers. But as I said, you know what I mean, my message here is to fucking try to empower people to overcome the current stigma that's there, by and large, keeping people in the closet around who they are and what they believe. And that's not just the cannabis consumers. Like, there's many people out there in positions such as nurses and doctors who wouldn't use cannabis or drugs, but they see people harmed not by the cannabis and drugs, but by the prohibitions, because, you know, they're getting their drugs from drug dealers and they can't get access to proper services, and they can see it, but they can't speak out because of the stigma and all of this stuff. Like, so they too need to come out of the closet about their views and opinions. But I don't expect them to. I expect that more of the consumers than the non-consumers. Daily Talker says there, I see your vision, Martin. It would be a beautiful thing indeed to have this culture bloom. It would, man. It really would. Like, and I'll always be optimistic. I'll forever be the optimist that we can make it happen. Like, you know, and fuck it. Like, if all else fails, like in 4 or 5 years' time, when I'm still fighting, and these corporate interests fucking line the pockets of the government, we'll have the corporate legal cannabis. We won't be able to grow it, and my fight will continue, and I'll be just kind of like, look, lads, see, this shit happened. Well, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope this time next year that when I'm packing this bong on 420 News, it will be a legal thing, like, you know. Like, that's my hope, that's my dream. Like, by doing this, like, it's not to make any fame for myself. It's the message, like. And I hope that it's successful. I hope by this time next year, when I do this, when I stick a bit of weed into a bong and put it onto a bowl and smoke it, it's not illegal. So hair to that, lads. Yeah, Mustawa is there, correct me. Polycarbonate, it's almost bulletproof. Ross Dr. Greentham says, I got a ceramic nail for doing dabs as well, and that worked well with the Grace glass bong. Nice. Podge there as well says, we all need to stand as one nation and one community. That's it. That is it. Like, we are all in this together. And as I said, the current drug laws, like, they don't just affect the drug users out there. They affect so many people. I've highlighted it in here on the show numerous ways in which it does. And I hope people just go on and repeat these things. Like, you know, I hope you know, people get to hear some of the ways in which I'm expressing myself in these things, and they go out there and they repeat those things. You know, you as a person who doesn't use drugs, you know, you're affected because police are less effective at responding to your call at your time of need, because they might be out there searching the pockets of some young fella because he had his hands in his pockets and he was acting suspicious wearing his hoodie. You know what I mean? These are the things, like, that we have to be repeating, like small things, like, and they'll have, you know, the butterfly effect. We'll make it happen, guys, together, stronger. Remember it. Jeez, loads of comments to get through there, guys. Much appreciated for them as well. Speaking of butter, who's got a bulletproof recipe for a can of butter? So sort Daily Talker out there, guys, if you got it. And Daily Talker also saying, look at all the famous influential people out there that publicly enjoy cannabis but would not step a foot in Ireland due to our backwards laws. Embarrassing. Yeah, man, 100%. I know when Snoop Dogg was over here in Cork that he got cannabis. And I guarantee you, like, you know, like, the Gardai know if Snoop Dogg is coming to Cork to do a gig down at the Marquee, that, like, if they're to do their job, they should be watching him. He's a person of interest. He's a known cannabis consumer, like, and he's a known daily consumer of cannabis. Unless Snoop Dogg is flying into Cork, getting off the plane, brought straight to the Marquee and brought straight back to the plane, he's probably, you know what I mean? And he's playing probably has fucking cannabis on it, like, because he has been to fly over here, like, and it's probably a long ass flight, like. So, like, you know what I mean? It's Snoop Dogg, like, come on, like, in fairness, like, but you think there's going to be a guard stop and search Snoop? Like, no, man, they rolled out the red carpet for that guy. When Vera Toomey came through the airport with medicine for her daughter, they took that shit off her. They waited there, man, the authorities done that to her. When Snoop Dogg came, do you think they done it? No, because they want Snoop Dogg to come, like, they want him to come, they don't want him to have a bad time, so they're not going to stop and search Snoop Dogg, like. And, you know, and there is other, maybe not as A-listers, not as influential as Snoop Dogg, who probably wouldn't come to Ireland, yeah, because we have backwards fucking laws here, and they would risk getting stopped and searched because maybe the guy at the customs wasn't tipped off the hey, lay, that's Snoop, don't search him, you know what I mean? These other kind of B-list celebrities, I suppose, if you will. Or maybe C-list celebrities. Get it? C-list? Hey. Maybe they don't get the same treatment as Snoop Dogg, even though Snoop Dogg is probably the biggest C-list celebrity out there. No, you probably get it. John Finnegan was, what's happening, man? He says, yeah, I got those replays when trying to organise a protest here. I would in a heartbeat, but I can't because of my job and similar. Yeah, man, there you go, like. I know it's definitely something, but you have to try. You always have to try, you know, just constantly, just chip away, like, you know, maybe you might get through to the conscience of that person if they have one eventually. Podge, we all need to stand together as one community, one nation. Yeah, I think they're getting repeats there, actually, of some of your comments now. Noble Peace Bowl. Daily Talker, he says, I think every city in Ireland I think every city in Ireland maybe needs its own Martin, so to speak. City by city communities need to be built, and that will keep the protest coming and increase the number. Exactly, guys. Like, I can't do this alone. Like, I need more people to pick up the torch here and join me, like, in their own communities, like, as I was calling for, you know, I think it's Joe Rogan, like, you know, be the hero of your own movie, like, you know, like, the kind of way, like, stop waiting around and waiting for other people to do shit, like, just get up there and do shit, like, you know, I'm kind of showing you how to do this stuff, like, I'm leading the way, like, if you want to get in touch, if you have any questions on how to do shit, I don't claim to be an expert, but I've done shit and I've experienced, and I'm happy to share that with anybody who wants to repeat this shit in their own community. I'm not saying go make a podcast, like, but no, fucking organize protests and shit like that, like, if it's organize a podcast, man, definitely go for it. Like, we need more voices out there. Check out other podcasts like Feminized Buds. I was on with them there, and they released their podcast as well recently. You've High and Homegrown, you know, you've got like numerous kind of podcasts out there making a bit of noise, like, but like, just add to it, like. But the most important thing is what I want you to do is go out into your community and add to the noise there. Organize protests and organize information. Like, literally, your protest is you go down, set up a table, and at that table, you know, cannabis, let's talk. And there you go, like, you know, like, and spark up a blunt at the table. Like, there's a nice decent protest fit to do. Like, it's simple. Like, it could be done by 2 or 3 people. Like, and there you go. Like, you're making noise. Like, and next you have old granny walking down through town. Like, she sees kind of cannabis, let's talk, and she comes over and she talks to you, and she says, "Oh, that's a nice bunch of people there. Like, geez, these cannabis consumers, they're not as bad as they're made out to be in the media." You know what I mean? See the change you can make by doing little things like that in your community, like, and this is all protests, like, you know, let's get out there, let's make noise, lads. John, when it's legal, Ireland's first strain has to be called Condon's Kush. Nice, man, nice. Andrew says Snoop Dogg was seriously stoned at a Swedish House Mafia. At Swedish House Mafia, the bloke took an hour and a half to come on stage. Martin Horgan says, you're a celeb caught with an ounce of coke. It's a small fine. Yet we get to go to jail for 10 years. Yeah, exactly, man. The celebrities get caught with stuff. They go to their old celebrity rehab, and they get out of jail free then, like. And it doesn't have the same implications for them, because effectively they don't really lose their job. It just brings them more attention and more sales, probably, more interviews, more TV appearances. It's a benefit for them, you know what I mean? But if you're a guy coming out of the council estate and you get addicted to drugs and you get recruited into drug dealing and drug running and you get caught with a bunch of fucking cocaine down your jocks, sorry, bud, you're fucked. Ross Dr. Greenthumb, he prescribed it. He's prescribed it. Snoop has prescribed it, so maybe they can't touch him. Well, maybe they can't touch him, but there's hundreds of other American citizens out there, or thousands, millions of American citizens currently prescribed cannabis, and they're not afforded the same opportunity to come to Ireland with their medicine if Snoop is afforded that opportunity, so to speak. You know? So still, yeah, definitely a two-tier system there between the kind of A-list guys and us, the little people. And yeah, I know a few of you already actually are viewers of the High and Homegrown. I see a few positive comments there as well about their podcast. So if you haven't checked that one out, guys, definitely do check it out. Think Sundays at 9 and the Friday sessions as well in the evening. So do check them out, boys. Yes, we're down to the end of the comments. Woohoo! No more comments, guys. No more comments. I have to sign off in a few minutes. I have to get down and make the dinner. But last few comments there, lads. Podge says, yeah, Percy's Homegrown, a great spot to teach you a few tricks. Excellent, man. And do check out the what is it, the Percy's Grow Room. That's the forum there as well if you want to learn about growing cannabis. Skitanis, he says, I've been thinking of putting up a we need to legalise drugs, change my mind, pop-up stand somewhere in South Dublin sometime in the summer. And that's an excellent job. Set that up, get yourself a GoPro or a nice power bank or something like that, and set up your camera, man, and record the whole affair as well. Like, get yourself a voice recorder, you know what I mean? That stuff lasts forever. You don't need a power bank then and to be worrying about it, and people won't be as edgy then around you because of cameras. People can be sketchy. And record the conversations. Like, you'll be very surprised as to what happens at the table and how many people will agree with you. You'll be very surprised as well. But it'll be interesting. Definitely, I'd love to hear and see that happening. So, yeah, man, keep me posted about that. And these are the kind of actions I want to see repeated. Just go out there, man, interact with the community, guys, and show people like that like, I'm the person that the state is spending millions every year and using our Gardai, who are supposed to be keeping us safe. And you know, I'm that kind of person. I'm a drug user. I don't have a problem. I work 9 to 5 there, here, wherever it might be. You know, like my boss, I had bosses before run successful businesses and still to this day run successful businesses. And they enjoy a bit of cannabis. One of them enjoyed cannabis. The other fella enjoyed alcohol and cocaine. And I won't mention it and don't look into my history because you might learn who it was. But like the guy who used alcohol and cocaine, he was the fucking guy not showing up to work on a Monday morning. Whereas the guy who smoked, he was the more reliable of the two bosses to do shit. Like, and sorry if you're listening out there, if you know who you are, like, you know, I love you both. You were both legends. But you know, like they were very successful. They still have a very successful business out there, and their drug use really never really held them back. As I said, if anything, the guy with the alcohol, he was more held back because he would be hungover on a Monday morning, you know. Whereas the guy smoking the weed, like, he was always there bright and early, got the shit done. But yeah, that's me ranting on again. Andrew McAdams, he says, it's not all about the drugs, it's about the tax-free money. Man, that's what the criminals are into it for anyway, the tax-free money. That's why they don't want to see it changed. And that's why they're in agreement then with the prohibitionists. Yeah, keep drugs illegal. Let's keep them illegal. But for different reasons. Tax-free money is the criminals' reasons. And feed the birds there as well. Hashtag feed the birds coming in from a few commenters out there as well from Podge. That's where people are encouraged to spread cannabis plants all over the country. So do definitely get involved with that, guys, if you can. Andrew, he says, Martin, what's your opinion on mushrooms if you have the time? Man, I love mushrooms. I'm going to be cooking some mushrooms in a few minutes. Mushrooms come in all shapes and sizes. If you go check out martinsworld.ie, I actually sell mushroom products. I got some lion's mane, I got some reishi, and I got some cordyceps up there as well. So check those out. But I would imagine you're asking about psilocybin containing mushrooms such as magic mushrooms. Well, I'm definitely a believer in the idea of microdosing and macrodosing as well. I definitely believe that as part of maybe a good healthy lifestyle, that a person might engage in a macrodose of psilocybin mushrooms, maybe annually, maybe even biannually for certain people, once every 2 years. It could be even once every decade, but I certainly think that people shouldn't leave this earth without having tried. That would be a shame. That would be like going to Disneyland, you know, or wherever, over there to Florida at the Tampa Bay to one of those big amusement parks and not getting on all of the best rides. You know what I mean? Imagine it. You're missing out on all the good fun. Like that's kind of how I would see it. Like, but not just fun, I suppose. There's opportunity for healing, for a learning, and for growing, I suppose, of one's I don't know, kind of character, I suppose, really, like psyche. There's certainly an expansion of a person upon doing psychedelics, not all the time, but certainly for me, psychedelics in the form of DMT, not mushrooms, cured me of anxiety, of an insomnia. So me, I'm definitely a big believer of these therapeutic mushrooms, as I see them, and I would love to see them in the hands of professionals in therapy settings, and yeah, and in the hands of people who know how to use them too responsibly. You know, I don't want to see them out there, you know, kids again using these things, you know, thinking that it's like some sort of a party drug when they're not. I don't see psychedelics as being some sort of not mushrooms and stuff like that as being a party drug as such. Although you can have a good time in them. Yeah, I don't see them as being that. For me, they're more a tool to be used, not abused. That's my view anyway. So I hope that answered your question, Andrew, man. And I hope you're all getting along out there, guys. I haven't seen any more disagreements. Like, can't we all get a bong? Pods4420 says a sticker campaign nationwide. Man, somebody suggested a good one to me there one time. It was the green lights around the place on the traffic lights. You get a sticker, and stick a stencil sticker up in it, so when the green light comes on, it's like lighting up in a green leaf. That's a funny one. I don't know, would that be more a nuisance though, you know, because it could be seen as endangering the public because we're interfering with the traffic lights and so maybe I wouldn't recommend doing that one, maybe, I don't know. But I thought it was a funny one. Do you know, you're sitting at the traffic lights and next it's like green leaf and it's like, decent. I'd love to be there with a camera to capture people's reactions when it kind of lights up and they see it, you know, to see if they smile or if they're like, oh no, cannabis, drugs, they're all shocked and scared. Monsieur Fudge, welcome along, man. Yeah, you'll have to catch up after an hour and a half into it there now. I'm going to have to sign off shortly because I'm getting starved. I just packed up another bowl there as well before we sign off. Don't know if you noticed. Podge, lib caps are brilliant and great benefits and microdoses for when you're feeling low. 100%, man. Liberty caps are amazing. I would always recommend doing a bit of research about before you go out, especially around golf courses. Make sure there's no chemicals there that they're using that could be dangerous for you to be picking from. And yeah, man, but be careful as well with the Liberty caps. It's hard to get the microdose right quite often or not, you know, just because of the very nature of them. But yeah, great. I definitely do recommend them. That's what I microdose with, is Liberty caps as well. I kind of tend to go for between 2 to 4 Liberty caps, depending on the size of the Liberty cap. But you're right, just eyeball Pauling it in the morning, throwing it into me coffee and blending it up with some other fucking superfoods. Foods of the gods. Yes, that's what they are. Foods of the gods. Cacao, amazing stuff. Excellent. Lion's mane. Oh, powerful stuff. Check out martinsworld.ie. Shameless plug. Yeah, I got the store back up and active up there as well. Yeah, exactly. WRT Gunner, man, we're a friendly bunch at the High and Homegrown. Join us for lots of fun and growing knowledge. And Skitanis, oops, mushrooms have become my religion. Can't wait for August. Yes, picking season. Do you go for the wavy caps as well? The geez, what are they called? I can't think of is it cyanosis? Is that the one? Cyanosis, the wavy caps. Psilocybe cyanosis. Do you pick those ones? I love those ones as well. I didn't get my hands on them last year. It was only Liberty caps I could get my hands on, but those cyanosis are good as well. Again, be a wide, guys. Don't pick the wrong mushrooms. Educate yourself as the lookalikes with the cyanosis. At least with Liberty caps, there's much less lookalikes. But with cyanosis, you can have lookalikes. So do your education before you make, or do your homework before you pick mushrooms. Geez, there's loads of comments there again, guys. I'll stick it out. I'll get through them. Maybe do a podcast on psilocybin. I hadn't. I hadn't a lot of people missing out on all unknown holidays. Word soup. Sorry, man. Yeah, they're certainly on holidays out there, I suppose, around mushrooms. I think is it 9/10? Is it 9/10 that they do for the mushroom day? Or is it 7/9? I don't know, man. Fucking what's his name? The comedian guy. Not Aubrey Marcus. Ari Shaffer. He's the guy. He talks, and Duncan Trussell as well, man. They're the guys for fucking psychedelic holidays. I might see if I'll see if they'll come on my podcast. That'll be a good one, man. Like get Duncan Trussell on the Martin's World, like, and we'll talk about psychedelics and mushrooms and all that great stuff, man. Nice one there. You put me on a brainwave there. I hadn't talked about him as a guest. Ross Dr. Green, Tom, I think I might do that with the recorder out there with myself and a few others that just talk the idea. The idea sounds great. Yeah, there you go, man. And glad we can get that out there and get more people kind of on the same brainwave. You know, excellent. Martin's World is fucking working, man. The podcast is paying off. Like, you know what I mean? Here we have it. Evidence, success. Nice one, lads. That's better than any like fucking donation, super chat, or you know, mention in the media. Just seeing that shit there in the chat like that, like the community is working. We're building upon each other's ideas and stuff, like, and this stuff is getting out there, and the butterfly effect, as I say, like, yes, long may it continue, lads and ladies. Unknown holidays, I love it. Cured me on my heavy depression, and that's coming in from Podge. Yeah, as I say, man, psychedelics certainly can be therapeutic. All right. Andrew, they're therapeutic, not party-putic. Nice. Shining in a Bucket says, not enough talk about LSA. LSA, that's in the Morning Glory seeds. Yes. I actually have some Morning Glory seeds. I have loads of Morning Glory seeds. And is it the Hawaiian Baby Woodrose actually as well? They're another good source of LSA. Another seed I have plenty of. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. My buddy from Herbal Science, man, he gave me more than I could ever need of poppy seeds, of fucking Hawaiian Baby Woodrose, of Morning Glory, of other kind of San Pedro, of peyote. Legend. I think he ordered it all in from like Alibaba, so it's probably not even what it's supposed to be, but like he's a legend for doing what he done that time, and I still have loads of those seeds there. But yeah, he took them and he talked about the LSA with the morning with the Hawaiian Baby Woodrose, and he definitely talked about the issues there around vasoconstriction, that he definitely felt tightness in his legs and cramping and stuff like that. So do your homework around these things, guys, before you go out there and start consuming different seeds that contain things like LSA. But yeah, I'm definitely up there, man. I'm very interested in all of these entheogenic kind of herbs and seeds and plants and things like that, man. Crazy. Like, why are they there in nature, and why do they elicit these effects within us as humans that have such profound kind of effects? You know what I mean? Like with mushrooms, for example. You know what I mean? That people put it up there in is it 1 in 5 or 1 in 3 most profound experiences or most meaningful experiences? You know, up there with getting married and the birth of their kids. That says a lot about psychedelics. If people who experience it in studies report those kind of feelings about the experience, it was up there with the birth of me child and marrying my wife, or marrying me significant other. Like, you know, crazy, man. Like, these things are powerful, like, and we're being robbed of them because of this fucking war on drugs, this silly prohibition, man. This prohibition is to make us a sick society. I can't help but think that that's the reason for it, because the plants and the mushrooms that they've prohibited are fucking incredibly beneficial. And by prohibiting them, they put them into the hands of criminals, people who don't mean to do well, rather than the professionals who mean to do well. You know what I mean? Oh, man. Talk about counterproductive. Unless your aim is to make a sick society. Unless your aim is to fucking create this criminal entity that you now have to go after. Do you know what I mean? If you're think about it, like, if you're a person who benefits from the war on drugs, like, if because you are within the police force, you get more budget, you're within the fucking justice system, you've more people to criminalize. I just think about it, like, you're all probably on the same brainwave as me out there, like, so singing to the choir probably. But Martin Horgan says, yeah, mate, got busted 10 times, but the only time he went to jail was for robbing a traffic cone. Shame on you for robbing traffic cones. Libs are not for beginners. Definitely start low, go slow. Like, that's always my advice for cannabis and for other things. Like, know your dose. Do your homework before you go taking anything. Learn about dosages and things like that before you go taking any substances. Especially if you happen to be on any type of medications as well. Always try to look into drug-to-drug interactions, things like that. So yeah, definitely look into things like that. Karen, I know shrooms are good for depression and cluster headaches and stuff, but what about anxiety? Because yeah, certainly there's evidence out there to suggest that in the right setting, like if you're a person who suffers with anxiety, I wouldn't be taking psychedelics in an uncontrolled environment. That would 100% be my advice. You need to be in an environment that is safe, where there's a person there who can keep you safe. Should you get into any difficulty because of your anxiety, you know, you might want it to stop, but you can't. It won't stop, and you start freaking out. Well, you don't want to be unguided, you know, in an uncontrolled environment again. With that situation should arise. So again, know yourself. Like, you know, if you know yourself, then you can go forward in a more controlled way. Like, I know myself, I could probably take mushrooms, I could take LSD, and I could probably be in a room alone, and I could be fine, because I don't suffer from anxiety, I don't suffer from any underlying things there. So yeah, but again, I wouldn't go taking fucking 10 strips of acid. Like, you know, I'd know my dose too. I'd proceed accordingly. Yeah, I see coming in there from Twitch as well, a comment, holy shit, Martin, imagine you got Duncan Trussell on there. Nice one for that. That would be really cool, man. He's a legend. I love the Midnight Gospel guys. I love that. That was a great show there on Netflix. That was great. And to be very honest, I watched the whole lot of it on LSD. Amazing, highly recommend it. I took a tab of LSD and I lay in bed, and I came up and I came down to the Midnight Gospel. It was great. I've no shame in saying this, I was crying during that final episode he did, and spoiler alert, that he did with his mother, who has since, I believe, passed. Like, oh man, that was powerful stuff. I'm even feeling the emotion coming back here now as I kind of think about it. Like, that was such a powerful episode. If you haven't watched the Midnight Gospel, check it out. Like, fucking Duncan Trussell's a legend. But yeah, I'm gonna blaze this up, guys, and I see loads more comments, and I apologize, guys, if I haven't read your comments. But we're an hour and 42 in. I said 15 minutes ago that I was going to sign off after the next 3 or 4 comments, and I'm out packing up another ball and doing another 15 minutes since. So and I'm more than happy to do it with you. And I would imagine if I kept going, you'd probably stay with me too for another hour or so. And I'm sure you got other things to be doing as well. And I my belly's rumbling. I don't know if it's coming through in the mic, but I'm certainly feeling it here. Fucking. So yeah, I'm gonna blaze up there, guys. And nice one again, everybody, for your comments. See some suggestions coming in there from John as well. He says, pick a bunch of mushrooms, roll it in a ball, and eat it like an apple. A very small apple, maybe. Yeah, for me, I how I like to consume my mushrooms is dried, and I like to actually chew them one by one. I've gotten quite used to the taste of the mushroom, the Liberty Cap. So wanting to, if I was to take a macro dose, I would like to chew them one by one. Other times, I would like to. Before I developed the kind of the tolerance, I suppose, if you will, to chew them one by one in a dried state, I used to just put them into boiled water with a few squirts of lemon juice and let it brew for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I would pour it into my cup, drink the fluid, eat the contents at the end, and have a very good time. That's how I used to do it. I definitely recommend both methods. One thing with the dried mushrooms, when you're eating them, it's always good to have some water nearby, obviously, just to kind of help with rinsing them down. Did morning glory seeds before fucking blue flowers started to grow to me beard. Is that a part of the hallucination, or did you plant the seeds in your beard? Yeah, as I say, lads, loads of comments coming in there. Skatana says here, I killed my peyote about half a year in. I got the same issue with aloe vera. I can't keep the things alive. Oh man, a heartbreaker. I had a San Pedro cactus that I put out and tried to overwinter here, and fucking failed miserably. The bloody thing got rot and died, but it came from Alexander Shulgin's garden, a very valuable fucking cutting. Unfortunately, it was gifted to me from a friend who was in the garden of the Shulgins and was allowed to take a cutting of a San Pedro. Thing died, unfortunately. I've since been gifted another one, which is just after successfully rooting up and is doing very well. And I just love to grow the things. I don't think I'd ever really consume it myself. I would probably go to a ceremony to take part in that kind of a thing. But I have a San Pedro as well that I've successfully kept alive now for about 3 years. I think I have it, and it's doing well, man. Thing's fucking tiny. It doesn't look like it's grown at all, but it's alive. It keeps flowering, keeps giving me some more seeds. I've tried to get the seeds to grow and germinate, but I haven't been successful to get more to do with it yet. But we'll keep trying, man. But it's alive anyway. Yes. Podge loves eating them raw as well, man, and chocolate snacks to cover the taste. Yeah, man, definitely a bit of chocolate helps it go down as well, but you have to be cautious that you don't overdo the chocolate then, because of the fucking sometimes you can get a bit of nausea there and come up and you might vomit, so you don't really want that. And American's World, I'll be honest with you, I was against some other drugs becoming legal, but since watching you, you have changed my mind. No one should be told what they should or shouldn't be taken. And there you go. Like, honestly, man, that touched me right here, by nice one, excellent. You made my day. Like that's the kind of thing we need to be doing. Like, it's just changing people's minds like that, you know, and keeping open minds. I always have an open minds about things, you know, and nice one, like that's really shown the value of doing this, that we've helped to change people's minds out there. So nice one for giving me that bit of feedback. And yeah, last 2 or 3 comments there, guys. 5G Alone in the Dark from Shitty Walk. Yes, love it. Love the username, man. Love it. 5 grams Alone in the Dark. I haven't mustered up the courage to do it, man. It's on my to-do list. It's on my to-do list. 5 grams Alone in the Dark. And I would even love to go a bit further than that as well. Daily Talker says, I've eaten close to 5 grams of Liberty Caps and I threw most of them up. Oh man, sorry to hear that. But yeah, I wonder, did you still feel the effects of the 5 grams? Or did they come up too soon? Like, yeah. Skatana says, always wondered about chocolate sugar taken with mushrooms. Wouldn't it affect a trip, or will the sugar be burned out before the psilocybin hits? Yeah, I would always be thinking that as well, and I always kind of fasted myself before taking mushrooms, and I would always enjoy the shit out of chocolate on my come down then. It was amazing. But yeah, certainly I did definitely had like a square or two of chocolate before while eating mushrooms. I've even had mushrooms that were in the chocolate. Courtesy of Casas das Drogas, I hope you don't mind me saying, who picked some mushrooms and made some chocolate and we shared it. In fact, actually, I'd given him the mushrooms. What am I saying? So there you go, man. I'm sure you don't mind me saying that now. But yeah, guys, don't panic, it's organic. Yes, I'm gonna sign off, guys, and nice one for everybody for tuning in and listening to the show. Keep an eye out tomorrow, guys. I will be going live before I go to court, and hopefully after I go to court, and I'll keep you updated on the situation and how it goes. It's a bollocks that I have to take more time out of my day at a time when I'm doing a fucking college course, and I have enough shit to be dealing with my family as well. I've got, a new child on the way. I would love to be getting on with my future, my career, but unfortunately I have to go to court tomorrow. I have to continue my activism. I have to do all of this stuff, and hopefully someday that might change. So nice one, guys. Stay blazed, and keep her lit. Yeah, stay blazed, keep her lit. Much appreciated. Peace.